month ago, when we got the first trailer for Hailey's on it, I was hyped. Coming off the Owl House, I was hoping for another slam dunk show like that. Well, different, one I could enjoy just as much. Over the weekend, Disney uploaded the first 6 episodes onto Disney Plus. They weren't exactly what I expected. Disney has had a pretty hit or miss record with animated shows over the past 10 years. Some I can really get into, like Phineas and Ferb, Gravity Falls, Amphibia, or the previously mentioned Owl House, while others don't work. I find Big City Greens obnoxious and couldn't get past the intro of DuckTales. So while excited to see Hailey's on it, there was a bit of fear, and my hype was growing, so I was worried that it wouldn't be able to live up to my expectations. A big factor of how a show will end up being is the episode length, though. Normally, the more lore-driven shows have full 22-minute episodes, where the more fun shenanigan-based ones, shenanigan of the week, those are the 2 11-minute episodes. With a concept like Hailey's on it, I wasn't shocked to see the 11-minute episodes, but did worry, as the show did seem to have an interesting mystery with the professor going on. So now, was the show actually any good? Actually, Hailey's on it was amazing. I haven't seen Hansel and Gretel, The Moon Girl, or Ghost of Molly McGee yet, but I think Hailey's on it might be the best show on Disney Channel at the moment. To me, it takes the most amazing parts of the three greatest episodic shows from the past decade of Phineas and Ferb, My Little Murphy's Law, and Amphibia, and mixes them together in such a great way. Its episode of the week story works so well, reminding me of Phineas and Ferb, most likely since the creators of this show worked on that. It had a wide net of fun characters like Amphibia, and the slow build-up of continuous plot like in Milo Murphy's Law. But I don't think we can just say the show is good by comparing it to others or saying that it's the next of blank, because the show has a unique identity. It's its own show, and that identity is amazing. There are so many parts of the show that make it special, so let's start with characters. We have 3 main characters in Hailey, Scott, and Beta, who are all very interesting. Hailey, unsurprisingly great. She has a very entertaining personality and probably the best voice of a protagonist since Gravity Falls with Stan, and also has great character design. She is already one of my favorite Disney protagonists, and I've only seen 6 episodes of her earlier this morning. I thought I might have disliked Scott, me, going in the show, but he really surprised me. He was a lot of fun and always catches me off guard. In my original video, I thought Beta would be like King, but Scott is much closer. Also, his design is great. How do you like my costume? Beta, though, is a disappointment to me. I had hoped with the initial trailer that he'd be good, but after hearing just a few seconds of his dialogue in the following trailer and his voice, I sadly knew it wouldn't work, and Beta is the one thing that has disappointed me in the show so far. He has great potential, being an actual genius trapped inside the body of a stuffed bear. Again, reminds me of King. They explored this a bit in a few episodes, but whether it's the body or the voice or the writing or how little he's been featured, Beta's just either been forgettable or annoying to me. The side characters featured are all just great, and by the end of the show may beat out all other Disney shows. In just the 6 episodes we have gotten, we have already established a great cast of characters, with more to join the roster, I imagine. Christine worried me in the first episode, but quickly became a favorite of mine. She could have gone over the top very easily, but she keeps such a great balance. It's nice to see a popular girl that's actually nice and not a bully, and her relationship with Scott is genuinely sweet. And even though we know that it can't last, the fact that the writers still tried to make it work instead of toxic or something like that, again, is subverting the trend. Her hat joke, it's funny. She's just great. AC is also amazing. If we need to say there was a Bolly, it would be him, but he is so much more than that. His backstory is that Hailey beat him at Duck Duck Goose in preschool, and he's been competing against her ever since then, even though she hasn't been competing against him. It's just like a one-sided relationship. His personality is very fun, and it leaves this funny yet basic story of Hailey's competitor. Once that starts to change, I'm excited to see what he can become. I mean, we slowly start to see it in the escape room episode, and he might end up being the best character, or the Blight, if you know what I mean. I don't necessarily mean that as the romance, I just mean Amity. She's good. But maybe romantically, I have thought of that a bit. We also have Hailey's family and Scott's sister. They all have great potential and seem interesting, but nothing much has been done with them so far. And the fact that Hailey's brothers are called Dwayne and Johnson had me laughing so hard. And speaking of that, the comedy has been on point. I have been laughing a lot. There's a great mix of gags, physical and verbal, long running jokes, so forth. There were so many chances where it might have become cringe, but it just ends up being hilarious. One of my favorite examples is the show Must Go On. It was a musical episode, and the musical was about hats. That could have been very extreme or very bland, but it was the perfect mix where the song was so catchy. There's another thing I loved. Almost each episode has an original song, whether it is from a musical or it was being played on the radio or it's something the character sings on stage with Russian people. There are so many original pieces created for the show, and they're all amazing. It isn't like Phineas and Ferb, where it's just full minute length wacky songs where all your characters are singing it together and la da da. That's fun, but here they like sound like real songs and are very well done. Not to say Phineas and Ferb aren't, but it's different. And when they play in the credits, I'm always bopping my head. The design of the show was also gorgeous. Both the characters and the backgrounds are just perfect. The visual style isn't Spider-Verse, but it doesn't need to be, and it's incredibly effective, looking so vibrant and so fun. I love the animation. I can't compliment the show because of this, but I used to live in San Diego, so to see a show choose to take place there, specifically Oceanside, instead of LA or San Francisco, is a bold choice, but one that I can really appreciate. We hardly ever see San Diego in media, I feel. And before I give my final opinion on the show, there's one last thing to bring up. The show has a very interesting lore if wanted to be explored, and it still might. But we've seen almost nothing. The professor has showed up for 2 minutes in the first episode and 2 in the fourth, and that's all we've gotten explored in the future. If you're wondering why I didn't talk about her in side characters, because she's not even really a side character. She's had like 3 minutes in the whole show. I do think the future stuff will be explored, but that is because of the Chaos Bots. The professor was very specific in saying that Hailey was protecting the future from climate change. So, how did that Chaos Bots come into play? Because they shouldn't have anything to do with climate change. That means there's someone trying to stop Hailey, which means there's a villain, which means there's lore to be explored. There's a piece of the puzzle that is missing, and I think when that piece is introduced, it will change the show for the better, for the worse. I'm guessing for the better, because the show's great. I'm still firm on my belief that Hailey will complete her list by the end of season 1. I think the show's Lord side does exist and will probably start to be explored at the halfway point of the season. I'm pretty sure that's episode 15 because there's supposed to be 30. And the season finale of this first season. Those are the two times I feel we'll really get it explored, and then more in season 2. And if we get a season 3, hopefully we get season 2 and season 3. So overall, Hailey's on it is amazing. The people who are looking for the next Owl House as far as a lore-rich, serialized show may be disappointed, but if you are looking for the next show to obsess over, Hailey's on it may very well be that. I thoroughly enjoyed each and every episode I have seen so far, and I'm excited to see more soon. If you haven't seen the show, I highly recommend it, and I think it will only be going up here from here. And hey, it's better than Amphibia Season 1, so there's really no excuse. Let me know if you want to see more videos on Hailey's on it. Each time we get new episodes, I definitely plan on talking like big stuff, like Halfway Point, but let me know if you want to see me cover anything else. Anyways, that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching, and what do you think? Have you seen Hailey's on it? If so, what do you think? And if not, will you give it a chance? All that and more, please leave in the comments down below. Also, leave your favorite episode. Mine is Splatter of the Bands. Those Russian people or wherever they're from, very funny. Also, for today's trivia, what's the flamingo's name? Disney is about to announce a bunch of new shows on Tuesday, which I will cover soon, so make sure to subscribe to see that. But until then, make sure to check out this video about how animation is truly unlimited. Thanks for watching. I've been Fictional Fanatics, dressed up as Scott Denoga, and until the next one, bye! They do that in this show too. Parkour!
Bye!